So the question that we have here then is a probability question. So the formula to predict the probability of something, so it's equal to probability is going to be equal to favorable outcomes divided by total outcomes. So just as a really simple example, if we take a coin toss, what's the probability of getting ahead when you toss the coin? Okay, so the number of favorable outcomes. So favorable outcomes, that should be. So it's going to be equal to, so if we want to get ahead, there's only one. If we think about all of the possible outcomes that you can get, there are two. So the ones that are favorable, there's one, because one side of the coin is going to be heads. So the number of favorable outcomes is one. And then the total number of outcomes, so there's two faces on a head on a coin, so therefore the total number of outcomes is 2. So therefore the probability of getting ahead when you toss a coin is equal to 1 over 2, which is equal to 0.5, which is equal to 50%. So that's the formula. So now what we have to do is we have to apply this formula to this problem here. So we need to work out these two values. So if we take the question, so the total outcomes are, so the outcomes are the students, okay, and what subjects they study. So the total, so if we read the question, a class of 24 pupils is made up of 10 boys and 14 girls. Chemistry is studied by 6 of the boys and 9 of the girls. A pupil is chosen at random from the class. Find the probability that the pupil chosen is a boy and a pupil who does not study chemistry. So it can be, so all the boys are going to be included, but we're only going to include the girls who don't study chemistry. So in this question, the total number of outcomes is 24 because we have 24 pupils. So now we have to figure out this, so the favorable outcomes. So the favorable outcomes has to meet this criteria here. So we have to figure out what's that number. So it's going to be everybody except the girls that study chemistry. So if we think about, so we have 14 girls. So how many of those girls do not study chemistry? So chemistry is studied by 6 of the boys and 9 of the girls. So it's going to be 14 minus 9. That's going to be equal to, that's going to meet this part here, pupils who do not study chemistry. So those pupils are going to be some of the girls as well. So what we can say then is that the probability then is going to be equal to, so it's going to be the number of boys, so you have 10, so all the boys are included, plus the number of girls that do not study chemistry. So it's going to be 14 minus 9, plus 14 minus 9, divided by the total outcome, the total possible outcomes, so we have 24 students. So then we just have to work this out. So that's going to be equal to, so 14 minus 9 plus 10, that's going to be 15. So that's 15 over 24. So that's the probability. So we can, so this is your probability. Now we can change this into a decimal and then into a percentage. So it's going to be 15 over 24, or we can write it as, so 15 divided by 24 is equal to 0.625. So that's 0.625, or we can write it as 62.5% as a percentage. So that's your answer. So that's how you work it out. So any of the probability questions, you're going to use this type of this formula here. So you need to work out the number of favorable outcomes from the question, and then also the number of total outcomes, or all the possible outcomes that you can get. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense.